Hey, I'm Yana, a sophomore at Woodbridge. I've been playing water polo for a while, which landed me a spot on the varsity team my freshman year. No applause needed. As much as I love being on this team, and it does have its fair share of inspiring stories, it's more important to talk about how I got here. So when I was about 13, my coach Ed told my club water polo team a story. He once coached this girl, and every Saturday, Coach Ed found her doing ball work in the pool before their 8 a.m. practice. She got there 2 hours earlier, hopped the fence in order to avoid triggering the alarm, and then got in the pool to work by herself. And she did this every Saturday. Her motivation seems touching, but Coach Ed was pretty mad considering she was illegally trespassing. He ended up forgiving her though after she got into Harvard, and now they're besties. He ended the story inspirationally, telling us it's what you do in the dark that makes you better. He meant this both metaphorically and literally. The metaphorical statement is that it's what you do when nobody's looking that makes you a great player. The literal statement was that he was trying to get us more motivated about our Saturday practice time being changed from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. Yeah, in the dark, as in it's not even light out yet, and we're in the pool. His reasoning, in short, was, oh, this girl voluntarily got up at 6, and that made her better. This can make you guys better. This led me to believe that there was some magical element in getting up early and working out. A harsh reality check when I found out that there is nothing magical about getting in a cold pool during the cold morning. And through 3 years of water polo, 2 of them being championship winning seasons, I learned that improvement is the furthest possible thing from magical. In the words of Coach Ed, it's what you do in the dark that makes you better. But this poses a little bit of a problem, because when you don't want to spend your free time working on this certain thing, it's really difficult to get better at. That's why being passionate about that certain thing holds so much importance in your ability to improve. This is something I didn't understand for the longest time until I started water polo. Realizing that I was passionate about water polo allowed me to see the difference between when I was not passionate about something. This brings me to my 6 years in synchronized swimming. That's the sport with the girls who wear the flower caps and do the cool motions in the water. I started in 1st grade, which meant that I sort of attached it to my personality as I grew older since I started it so early. And that's one of the reasons I stayed in it for so long. In my 6 years of doing the sport, the only time I was not on the B team was when there weren't enough people to form a B team. If this isn't any indication, I was bad. In my defense, the cards were stacked against me from the start. Naturally, I'm very inflexible, and flexibility is a huge part of the sport. The key word though there is naturally. I never worked very hard to change that because it just didn't feel important to me. I didn't do anything in the dark. I mean, when there was an angry French coach literally sitting on my legs, pushing me to go further into my splits, well, at first I would think, oh my God, she's gonna break both my legs. But then I would think, this would be a whole lot easier if I just stretched at home. But then when I was at home, I'd think, well, it's enough that a coach was sitting on me. There's no reason I should stretch myself. But that's just the thing. A coach shouldn't have to sit on me, and I shouldn't be relying on them to push me to be better. If I truly wanted to get better, I would have pushed myself. Looking back, the main red flags showing I wasn't passionate were the reasons that made me reluctant to quit. First and foremost, I loved my friends. I'm not really sure if it was like a little kid thing that just makes me love everyone. All I know is that they made me really, really happy. Secondly, I relished in how impressed people were when I told them I did synchronized swimming. Not only the complexity, the grace, the beauty of the sport, but also baffled because they didn't realize a first grader could say a word that big. What they didn't know is that in reality, I sucked at it. However, they never found that out because I was always telling them, "Oh, I'm in the top 100 of my country." Yes, this was true, but there were also only 100 people competing. Regardless, I was soaking up the praise. By now, as you may have noticed, none of these reasons have anything to do with me liking the sport itself. So eventually, I quit. And so begins my journey to water polo. At first, my love for the sport came from how much easier it was than my previous one. I mean, there wasn't a French person sitting on me here. Bare minimum though. For the remainder of the year, I learned the basics, picked up the skills pretty fast. Following that, my first year, I was put as a starter. No pressure, right? Actually, yes, right. I was too distracted by how much I started to love the sound of the ball swooshing to the back of the net. A pretty common sound thanks to yours truly. This got me praise amongst the parents, something we all know I love. A new feeling I felt? Having fun when I was playing. Doing the sport was usually my least favorite part, so imagine my surprise when I wanted to play more for a change. Aging up was a huge transition with more commitment, bigger people, different rules. I had to show up and show out to earn my spot on the A team. No matter how hard I worked during practice, it was the things I did in the dark that made me my best. Arguably, it wasn't just doing the extra work at home, but it'd be me thinking about what did I do wrong in those games, or putting myself against the best player even though they were like all the way up here and I was down there with my skill level. The coaches didn't notice these things because they were just too insignificant to note. But the little things did add up really fast, and my improvement was what they did see. But now it didn't even matter that they did because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for me. At some point, I understood that I found my passion. It was when I realized that I wasn't doing it to impress other people, and when I was getting better for myself, and when, even though I was putting all this extra work, time, thinking, I enjoyed it. Passion is loving something so much that you just keep wanting to get better. In a less cheesy definition, passion is something that raises your confidence and something that you don't need validation about from other people. This doesn't necessarily mean you reject the compliments, because God knows I didn't, but it means that what others say, good or bad, doesn't have an effect on what you're doing. So understanding what real passion is leads me to the question, do you have it? I would have reconsidered what I was doing if 6 years ago somebody told me, "You're not passionate. This isn't at all what passion is." So don't make the same mistake I did. Hey, I'm not trying to force you to quit your day job or anything, but you're missing out if you don't have something like how I have water polo.